Hello there, this is Josh from WitzGaming.com, and welcome to my new weekly segment, Wittz Admits, where I admit my current thoughts on a recent issue in the video games industry. Really, this is just a place for me to talk about video games, have a conversation with you guys, and maybe have a little bit of fun. This is just some unrestricted time where I can talk, speak my mind, whatever, and I think that it should be a pleasant experience. We'll see how it goes. Currently, I'm planning on just having these completely unscripted, maybe the occasional jump cut or two. Oh, it's recording. But altogether, it should just be a fun, quick way for me to get some videos out about video games. So, today's topic, Mass Effect 3 Day 1 DLC. Now, DLC in the Mass Effect universe has kind of been inevitable. Heck, it's been inevitable in EA games in general, but playing through your game and then later getting a pack release where you can get some new missions, characters, or ammo, things like that, been kind of the standard practice. However, currently we've heard that Mass Effect 3 will be having DLC from Ashes that comes out on the first day, and so far, the way fans see it, it should be a very vital part of the game's story. Now, I don't know if you guys are all familiar with Mass Effect 3 or not, but one thing that this pack includes is a Prothean character. Now, to you that might sound like idiot technobabble, but to Mass Effect 3 fans, this is actually a pretty big deal. Protheans are a really big part of the universe, and being able to have a playable character on your squad as payable, downloadable content outside of the $60 that you're already putting down for the regular journey, that is pretty much a big ripoff. Now, I know EA and BioWare are trying to do what a company should be doing, and that's testing their fan base to see how much money they can get out of them without getting people upset, but this seems to be pressing the line. And I've got to admit, I hate Day 1 DLC. For a lot of reasons, but here are my thoughts. Now, downloadable content in itself is pretty much a marketing sham. Most games should be complete when you buy them out of the box, especially when they cost $60 already. So, in my mind, there are two ways where DLC is acceptable. The first is if your game is already a free-to-play game with DLC as part of a way for it to make revenue. Now, looking at some other games, we've got things like League of Legends or Team Fortress 2, which went free-to-play earlier, where you can play the regular game completely just fine, but if you want some extra content, like weapons or characters or things like that, and you don't really feel so bad because you paid nothing to get the game in the first place. It's a way to get some extra content and have a good time while not breaking your own bank. And if you don't want any of that extra stuff and just want to play for free, then you play for free. Nobody really loses anything, and you have a good time either way. Now, the other way where I find DLC acceptable is if they do something to make their game better in some way that the original did not. Now, this isn't just adding extra content. That's lazy and dumb. But if they do something creative that improves on something that happened in their game, then yeah, I think that it's acceptable to release something that someone might want to buy. For example, for a fairly recent game, we've got Deus Ex Human Revolution. It was a great game, it had nice RPG elements, and there were a lot of different ways that you could solve your puzzles. You could do things stealth-based, you could sneak around, you could go straight-up action, but the biggest problem about the game for most people was that the boss battles completely took out your ability of choice and forced you to run and gun. So if you were playing stealth throughout the whole game, like I did, then it was really going to suck for you for having to go through all these boss battles when you have basically no upgrades put into your weapons. So they released DLC that had a boss that was entirely stealth-based. So in that way, they kind of balanced things out and created something that made their original game better. Now, my big problem with the way that things like Mass Effect 3 are doing things with Day 1 DLC is that when you have stuff that another player can buy on Day 1, there is no way you could have improved on your original game. You didn't have other people playing it, you don't know how to fix it, you don't know how to make it a more enjoyable experience for everybody else. Really, you're just creating another source of revenue for your game, which is ridiculous when you add everything up. The game's $60 as it is. If you're buying it used, you gotta pay an extra $10 if you want to play multiplayer, and now if you want an extra mission that very well might be important to the story, you gotta add an additional $10 onto that, straight from the get-go. Now altogether, yeah, I do think this is ripping people off, and unfortunately, there isn't really much people can do about it. Everybody's talking about boycotts recently, but let's be honest. Boycotts are not going to hurt the sales of Mass Effect 3. It's an enormous game. It already has sold very well over its first 2 installments. BioWare is huge, EA is huge, Mass Effect is huge. People are going to buy that game no matter what. They'd buy it if it was $100. They'd do anything to buy this game. So by boycotting it, you're really not going to leave a dent in E3's market, and you're really just going to hurt yourself too. Heck, even if you buy the game and decide, oh, I'm not going to buy the DLC that comes with it, you'll probably end up regretting that too. You'll want to play it because that's just the way that EA's designed it. They make DLC that you want to play for a reason. Now, it is really dumb and it's really cheap, and because of this, us as the consumers don't really have anything that we can do about it. The only thing that you can do is get up either in front of a camera or over a keyboard and complain. Now, I know that that sounds really whiny and people are going to think, oh wow, man, this is such a small thing to be complaining about, but if enough people complain, maybe people like BioWare and EA will finally listen and make some worthwhile DLC instead of just trying to screw the consumer over. Now, I don't think that it's clean, I don't think that it's fair, but that's kind of how the consumer corporation balance has always been in life, and that's how it seems to be extending into the video game industry. There isn't anything we can do about it, but if we sit and complain, maybe things will change a little bit. Either way, I think Day 1 DLC is stupid, and I'd like to hear what you guys think about it. I'm not necessarily saying my opinion is right, so let's hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. Thanks for watching this first episode of Wittz Admits, and I'll see you guys again next week about something that I thought was important. See ya!